As Cavs trade talks continue to escalate, Cavaliers insider Chris Fedor has just announced a new blockbuster trade that could potentially result in a point guard swap with another Eastern Conference team after his more recent report that Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen are not untouchable. This comes just out of nowhere when we thought the core four seemed like we were going to stay together. Now we have an insider saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers could be doing a potential point guard swap. I'm Matt Blanchard here at Cavs Digest. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Before we get started, I want you guys to go hit that subscribe button. As we cover everything Cavaliers, we do not miss a thing, and it is so easy to miss so many things that happen in the offseason. So I recommend you hit the subscribe button because we literally post every rumor, every proposal, everything that happens with the Cavs in the offseason. So go hit the subscribe button. I read all your guys' comments. I appreciate advice. I also love seeing the consistent faces that are consistently supporting us. So I appreciate you guys so much. And I just love that you guys stick around and continue to ride. This channel is continuing to grow. We're aiming for 2.5, then hopefully 3K soon. So appreciate you guys so much. Billy's pushing out bangers. I'm doing my best out here as well. So thank you guys so much. But now let's talk about what this blockbuster deal is for the Cavaliers, what Chris Fedor has said, and what it is right now. So right now we have a blockbuster deal. He said, I think there's a framework of a deal between the Cavs and the Magic that would involve Darius Garland and Jalen Suggs. That's the blockbuster deal we have, and this one is interesting because a lot of people are very questionable on why this would make sense for either team, because the Cavs lose such big scoring, and the Magic lose arguably their best piece, like overall, other than Paolo Banchero, a guy that is an absolute defensive monster. And for those who do not think that Jalen Suggs is up to the level of Darius Garland, let me show you guys something. There's one big problem that I have with Jalen Suggs, and I'll talk about that, but let's talk about how good he is just as a player in general. This is a guy who is arguably the best defensive point guard in the NBA, and I genuinely believe that. This kid is an absolute defensive monster who can also score the basketball. He hustles his butt off. He uses his body consistently, and using his body consistently might result in something negative, which I'll talk about soon. But he literally always uses his body. Look at this. This is Kyle Kuzma. That is a guy that's significantly taller than him. He's just putting his body on line. He's staring. He's giving him a death stare like, dude, you can't score on me. Jalen Suggs is arguably the best defensive point guard in the league, and the Cavs are so desperate to find a guard who can just go around and clamp everybody 1 through 3 in the backcourt, and that is what Jalen Suggs brings. He has clamped some of the top players in the NBA, including Darius Garland. If you guys remember last year, these two teams matched up in the first round, and Jalen Suggs bested Darius Garland a lot in that series, because that was one of Darius Garland's worst playoff series, and he's always been bad in the playoffs. Jalen Suggs killed Darius Garland in that series. But let's talk about the big negative behind Jalen Suggs before we kind of break down more of what he brings. Actually, let's first show his stats so you guys see that he's not just a defensive monster, because I showed his defensive highlights because that's what he brings the most. He's 6'5". He went to Gonzaga. He's only 23 years old. He shoots 31% from 3, which can get better, but not this season, but the season before he shot 39%. 16 points per game, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. This guy is all over the place on offense. He brings a lot of athletic value. He was super athletic in high school and at Gonzaga, still is, and he can shoot the 3 ball. Of course, you lose a lot of consistent shooting because he can't shoot at the level Darius Garland can, but Jalen Suggs can shoot very well. He's a great ball handler, and he's super athletic. The biggest thing that he has that Darius Garland doesn't have is the one thing that all of us, including myself and all of you guys, are asking for, is physicality, and that's what he does, as I showed you in those highlights. He does on the defensive and the offensive side. But what is his biggest negative? Well, it is unfortunately his injuries. This guy has been terribly injured his whole career. He cannot stay healthy. Yet, like this season alone, he played 35 games. He played 75. He had 75 the year that they matched up against us in the first round, and we beat them in 7-game series. That was his best season he's played overall. I mean, 48, 53, 35. This guy cannot stay on the court, and that's the biggest worry for me. Is he worth Darius Garland, who we've seen injury problems this season, like with his toe? Would you rather take a risk on a healthier guy that can score a lot, or a guy that's insanely physical and insanely of a good defender that will possibly get hurt? If he can stay healthy, I personally believe the Cavs win this trade. I want to ask for your guys' opinion. Drop it down in the comments. Do the Cavs win this trade, assuming Jalen Suggs plays healthy? But also keep in factor, like, the trade's not worth it because Jalen Suggs is injury prone. That's a big thing to keep in mind. Like, look, 2 injuries right here. This guy is, unfortunately, just struggles to stay on the court, and that's what sucks. Let's talk about what Fedor said as well. This is kind of more of the source itself. Guard Jalen Suggs is a potential trade target for the Cavaliers. They should part ways with Garland in light of another underwhelming playoff stint. Fedor shared a hypothetical trade option that would net the Cavs Suggs and Tristan da Silva Silva. I understand that Jalen Suggs is not as good of a player as Darius. I understand that Jalen Suggs is not as naturally gifted or talented as Darius, but he brings a lot of stuff this team would benefit from. He can handle, he can distribute, he can guard his butt off, he can shoot from the perimeter, he can drive, and he can give you more size, more toughness, and more tenacity, like I said. So I completely agree with Vito on this. Suggs isn't the gifted scorer and passer that Garland is, but he's still an effective offensive player. There's the stats I showed you, and Magic, who made the playoffs, of course, lost to the Knicks in the first round, I believe. Yeah, lost to the Knicks in the first round. No, they didn't lose to the Knicks in the first round. Apologies. No, they didn't. But they lost to the Magic, or they lost to the Celtics, excuse me. Sorry, I got it right this time. Anyways, so yeah, me and Fedor are kind of agreeing on this completely, that Suggs brings you so much defensive value, and a guy that's willing to use his body, and super athletic guy. The offensive value, you do take a big regression, but the thing is consistent in playoffs. Darius Garland could be that regular season scorer that we all know he can be, an all-star that could shoot 9 threes in a game, can make that many. And Koby Altman's a lot higher on him as well than, he compared him to Steph Curry in this video.
Durability, he played high this year in games, at 71 games. Do you think there's a level that he can get to that he hasn't tapped into yet? It's a conversation we've had with Darius. He's so gifted, he's talented, he's so skilled. Like I said, he helped regenerate the excitement in Cleveland basketball. Like, he deserves credit for making this place fun to play again. His step is going to be, how do I get stronger? He needs to get stronger, right, so he can compete at the highest level, right? He needs to get stronger so he can compete at the highest level. It's the same thing that with Stephen Curry when we picked on Steph. Now, Steph's all world, making the comparison. But Steph got so strong over his mission of his years. He's a different physical specimen, Stephen Curry, than he was when we first started playing him. It's the same thing that happened with Darius. And
there it is. Okay, so he's kind of right about Steph Curry when he was younger, like in the NBA. He didn't have that physicality, he didn't have that dog in him that Darius Garland so desperately needs, and Steph Curry grew into it. But I feel like that's more just him being more confident in the NBA, because Darius Garland just doesn't seem to have that personality, that mindset that works at the top physical level like Steph Curry. Plus, the biggest thing about Darius Garland is his playoff performances, and that's what we're so low on him for. And that's why, yes, you lose offensive value, but do you lose offensive value when it matters the most? Because his playoff struggles have been consistent. If you look, the 2023-24 one is one I want to stand out the most, because they played 2 playoff series. Donovan Mitchell got hurt against Boston in the second round where we lost. He only averaged 16 points per game. And the Orlando Magic series, Donovan Mitchell had a 50-point game and we lost. He was so terrible in that series. I mean, you see it. Field goal percentage low, 3-point percentage actually not bad. Just didn't have the shot creating confidence. It's just his inconsistencies in the playoffs is why we're so negative on him. And that's the sad truth. Yes, you're going to lose offensive skill set when you give rid of Garland for Suggs, but you don't lose playoff efficiency, because he's been so inefficient in the playoffs, and that's why we're so negative on him. And that's of course, I love what Darius Garland has done for this team. I mean, I love his regular season capabilities. You see it right here, 47, 40 from 3, 20.6. I mean, you got Koby Altman comparing him to Steph Curry, which is maybe a little outrageous, but I mean, I understand where he's coming from. 7 assists per game on only 2 turnovers. I love what Darius Garland can do on the court. I just don't like the fact that it doesn't translate into the playoffs, and that's the biggest thing. So, yes, you do lose offensive skill set, but you don't lose playoff offense, because Darius Garland barely brings playoff offense as of right now, while Suggs can possibly bring more as long as Suggs stays healthy. So, what do you guys think about this report by Chris Fedor? Is this even possible? He seems to truly believe that this is something that could happen right now. So this could be something that I would be down to kind of see. I wouldn't be mad about it. I wouldn't be happy about it. I'd be weird, because the only thing that throws me off about Jalen Suggs is his health. Because I think if he does stay healthy, the Cavs get that dream defensive physical monster at the point guard position who can handle the ball and score. And a guy that is so willing to do it all on the court, unlike Darius Garland, who's just willing to score, basically, and try his hardest on defense, but he is an inefficient defender, and that's a sad truth. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for joining me. Hit the subscribe button to join this community that we're building, so you guys can get every single Cavs news, every single Cavs rumor, trade, injury, everything that happens during what could be a crazy free agency, where the Cavs could get worse or better. We do not know, but I appreciate you guys for all the support recently, all the advice as well, and I want to say have a good one. Thank you guys for joining me.